This is a call for an uprising. Welcome to today's show. We all must be crazy, right? I must be crazy. You must be crazy talking about these things. Specifically speaking about cannibalism recently and how we're seeing it shoved down our throats. Remember, the key to mind control is repetition. So when they roll this stuff out, they're going to do it in consecutive order for a reason. They're not going to need to spread it around from year to year. Okay, they will spread it around from year to year, but to get the point across, to get the repetition across, just like playing a song on the radio that just comes out by Katy Perry over and over and over, to get that witchcraft stuck in your head, they do the same stuff here with predictive programming. So it's not a coincidence that in the last week or so, covering Santa Clarita Diet, to covering the Russians bathing in the deer blood and drinking the deer blood, to the atheist guy who's talking about how he will, hopefully by the end of the year, they'll be selling human flesh in the supermarket. Then comes, of course, an episode from the X-Files. The X-Files, which is filled with predictive programming. I've covered so many episodes this year just to show people out there what they're doing, how they're desensitizing people, right? They covered the Mandela effect. They covered artificial intelligence and what the plan is for people with AI. And now, of course, we get a cult in this episode, which shows you exactly what these Satanists and occultists believe in and exactly what they do. And of course, it wouldn't be an episode if they weren't mocking Christianity along the way, with every murder quoting the Bible, having the two main characters in church getting their Catholic, communion. All of this stuff strategically done on purpose. The theme of the show for this episode was about how doctors were organ harvesting. So they were removing the organs from patients and then sending them over to this woman who had all of these children and teens, I should say, captive, living with her, but they were willingly living with her. They were willingly living there because they were part of a cult. And in this cult, they were drinking human blood, eating organs, right? And somebody intercepted some of the stuff that was supposed to be sent. And guess what? The characters were all upset because they didn't get their human heart. Now, the woman is supposed to be 85 years old. This woman who looks like she's probably in her 40s is supposed to be 85. And the theme is that drinking of the blood, eating of the organs keeps you young forever. Right? And the title of the show is Nothing Lasts Forever. But the theme of the show is that these people believe that. And this is exactly what the Satanists and the occultists believe. Now, during the rituals that involve young children, which I hate to even have to address, but it's the truth, the sexual molestation of these children revolves around them believing that they consume the soul of that child when they perform these acts on children as young as a few months old. They believe that they're transferring the soul of that child into them and that they're going to be forever filled with youth. And then, of course, they perform these cannibalistic acts as well on these children, as well as others out there, because that's what these people believe. These people are cannibals, okay? These people prey off the flesh. That's why there's vampire movies, zombie movies, Santa Clarita Diet, all of this stuff shoved down our throats. It is to prepare people for this to be normal. And it's like I just said over and over. Didn't I just say this a week ago? Right? And look how this is getting shoved down our throat. This isn't by coincidence. How they're going to use this as a movement for youth, right? So these people who are trapped in this woman's house, or I should say voluntarily living there, are all there because they want to be beautiful. And they believe that by drinking of the blood, this woman who leads the cult is going to feed them organs and blood, that they're going to be beautiful and live forever. And then, of course, the twist to it is that her husband, another guy who's supposed to be really old, he does this like human centipede thing where he is sewn together with the body of someone else as if that person's transferring, their youth into his body. Okay? That's just a metaphor in a sense for what they believe, because they're not going to show you the real acts that these people perform with children. They're not going to show that on Fox. You kidding me? There's no way they're going to put that out there. So instead, this is a metaphor where they're, the human centipede. Remember that awful movie where people were sewn together? Well, these people are sewing themselves to these young teens because they were believing they were transferring all of that energy and that life force into their own body to stay forever youthful. Okay, and that's what it's about for these people. And that's what this episode harps on, right? The thought of never aging, never growing old, never wanting to die, and having to face death. These people will do whatever they can not to face it. And that's why you see the AI movement becoming more and more in our faces, because they believe through artificial intelligence that they will live forever. They actually are so stupid. They believe on Judgment Day that they're going to win. That's what they believe. They don't believe they're ever going to die off. And because of computer technology and artificial intelligence, that they won't. They want to defy age. They don't want to die because they know what faces them when they do. They know exactly what faces them, eternity and hellfire. That's what faces them. So you can see just the same common themes, right? And how these young children, these young teens are presented with this mindset of, you'll look beautiful if you consume this flesh, just like the leader of the cult. Oh, you'll be beautiful. You'll be a TV star. You'll be famous. Everybody will want you, right? And these children are just laying around the house, getting fed blood, getting fed organs. They're involved in the trade, and don't even, leave that part out of it, because that's a major part of this, organ harvesting, right? We know what happens at these abortion centers, okay, with the aborted fetuses, the aborted children, where they go exactly, okay? They go right to these people for their rituals. That's where they go. That's why they push abortion so heavy. They need those children. They need those sacrifices. It's nothing to do with women's rights and a woman's right to choose. It has to do with them lusting and craving for that deceased child who's been sacrificed. Well, it doesn't. I shouldn't say necessarily sacrificed, because the person who's doing it is clearly, not knowing what they're even getting involved in for the most part. They're being brainwashed into thinking it's the right thing to do. But those children who are aborted, through Planned Parenthood and all this other crap that goes on, are sent to these covens, to these cults. The doctors usually performing these are involved in it. It's a long network. It's a web that weaves its way through everything. And I know people have a hard time wrapping their head around it. But listen, you got to understand, these people are everywhere. It isn't just a few. It isn't just, it's just maybe some people in Hollywood. They're everywhere. They're involved in every form of business, okay? And they've networked their way into, places like abortion centers just so they can get these aborted children and use them for their rituals. So that is the theme that you're going to see with cannibalism, like I've been saying. You're going to see this youthful thing, and that is why the Kardashian thing with the vampire facial is so important to them, right? It might sound like something not major to any of us because we go, what a bunch of weirdos. But think about how they'll be able to manipulate the youth out there. Think about every commercial on television, how it's about wanting to look young, wanting to feel young, how every celebrity has 8,000, Botoxes done to their face and they look like aliens. Okay? They pushed this on everyone, right? 20 years ago, if you talked about Botox and these facial surgeries, people would have said you're nuts. Now it's like if you're 40 years old and you don't have work done on your face, something's wrong with you. This is all part of a plan. This is all going to culminate with this mindset of, forever youth. Think about the vampire, right? What is the point of the vampire? Sucking on the blood, right? For the youth, it feeds off the blood. And they've convinced everybody with all of these things that it's, it would never be happening in the real world until they finally realize it does, but they're told all the benefits of it. Cures cancer, cures AIDS, no more diseases, this, that. Same with AI. They'll do the same thing. Well, if you get, this chip in you and you get your DNA altered and mixed with the machine, you'll never get a disease again, and everybody will sign up because they want everyone to have the same mindset. Immortality, never having to face death, right? And the X-Files is always revealing this stuff. It's always showing what they're doing and what their agenda is. They're desensitizing people through this show, which is supposed to be a quote-unquote conspiracy show. That's why they can get away with doing this. Sure, they'll mix in some lies, they'll mix in some crazy stuff, but they'll flat out show you this stuff, and then you could read people's reactions. Oh, cool. Wow, what a cool episode about the woman drinking the blood and harvesting the organs for youth. See the theme? Same as Santa Clarita Diet, right? Same exact theme. They're feasting off of the blood because they feel better. They feel younger. They're having the best sex they've ever had. This is all the stuff that they're feeding through these shows. telling everyone, oh, wow, best sex ever. Yeah, after I ate a human body. That's what, Drew Barrymore's saying in the trailer for the show. Right? And you're going to see more and more and more of it. So it's important to be aware and see this stuff because you'll see the agendas that are going. You'll be able to point it out to people and say, look, this is what they're doing. They are trying to normalize this through repetition, through kind of using what we would refer to as fiction, even though the real fiction is the news, and the stuff you see on here is actually real. And that's how they get people in. Oh, you can make you feel better. Oh, da-da-da-da-da-da. Oh, better sex drive. Oh, this, oh, that. Oh, you won't be depressed ever again. Really? Oh, are there any side effects? No. Oh, okay. They won't tell you about Kuru. So this is the X-Files, folks. Eating organs, drinking blood, all this stuff. This has only been, 7 days since I brought up cannibalism? I mean, I've been talking about it for years, but since the trailer for Santa Clarita Diet 2 came out, then we saw the Russian thing with the blood. We saw the guy come out talking about how they're going to have, use stem cells and have humans in the meat section at the grocery. And then the X-Files comes out with this episode. That's the thing. Repetition. It's all coming out in order. It's all conditioning people because they're seeing it. Boom, 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 boom. It's getting pounded into their head. Just like when you're in school and you get the same crap pounded into your head day after day after day, year after year after year, until you are supposed to accept it as truth. And you're rewarded by what? Getting good grades on your tests, for believing in the lies. You're rewarded for believing in the lies and knowing the lies better than everybody else. And you're rewarded within the system. That's the matrix for you, folks. So they're pushing this cannibalism stuff hard, and it's not a surprise to me. I thank you for listening to today's show. God bless all of you and your families.